So let's talk about your work about one of the most awful diseases, cancer.
Yeah.
It's probably killing at least a third of us these days.
True.
You'd think natural selection would have gotten rid of it.
It's quite hard to get rid of. The reason being that if you want to be a living organism achieving anything, it's very hard to do that without your cells dividing.
They have to keep dividing all through life.
They have to keep dividing. Some organs, like your gut, have to do it incredibly much because you keep digesting your own gut all the time. So that's just a fact of life. And cell division is something that is very hard to get 100% correct all the time. It can be very close to 100%. But if there's a minute risk that something goes wrong, you have so many cells that eventually, given enough time, something funny will happen.
So you've written about why elephants don't get 1,000,000 times more cancer than mice, given that they have 1,000,000 times more body size. Why is that? That's called Peto's paradox, is that right?
Yeah, so Peto's paradox is basically the expectation that all else being equal, if you're bigger, you're going to have more cancer, simply because...
Would make sense. If it's just accidents, more cells, more cancer.
That's right.
But that's not what we see.
Exactly. So elephants actually live much longer lives than mice.
So they have larger bodies, more cells, and they live longer.
Exactly.
All three things should make them have way, way, way more cancer.
And now there's some very cool new research having a little bit of a look into their genome. And for example, you and I, we have only one copy of a gene called TP53, which is something that protects organisms against cancer. Elephants have 20. So they have clearly needed something to protect them from this danger in order to be able to.
So I presume this is the work by Josh Schiffman?
That's right.
And Carlo Melli has done that together.
That's right.
And it's a fun story for me because Josh Schiffman came up to me after a lecture I gave when he was an undergraduate and said, "This is interesting, can I do evolutionary medicine?" And now he's a world leader in the field, actually making major advances that may end up helping us to do better.
Yeah, and what I like about this story is that think about the number of people having mice in their labs, thinking that this is the perfect model to study everything. If only we could have whales in our labs doing this kind of thing. It's of course something where you have to realize that you need to know the ecology and evolutionary history of your animal in order to figure out what aspects are actually constant across species.
This is another very important point for evolutionary medicine. You can't just take an animal as if there's a generic animal.
That's right. There's no generic animal.